Welcome to a Bannerlord's mod creation tutorial. This isn't about installing mods. If you've come for that, you're in the wrong spot, sorry. But if you want to learn how to create a mod for Bannerlords, then you've come to the right spot. Now, the first thing I want to talk about really quickly is just that the state of modding in general for Bannerlords is not very documented. The whole purpose of this video is because I struggled significantly as a fairly... I don't want to say amateur because I was a professional programmer for like 4 years, but as someone who is new to the scene, it was quite difficult to get my head around some of the things that maybe some of the other modders take for granted. So I thought, why not put together a tutorial and step people through creating it in Visual Studio and then modding your first quest. And if I step through all of that, that's a lot of documentation for somebody to come through, watch, and hopefully join the scene and come and help us, add to Bannerlords, which is a very moddable game. And if you go to Nexus Mods, you will see a ton of mods already for it. But unfortunately, you'll see a ton of mods that are out of date because the code base underneath keeps changing. And while, in my view, that has settled down a bit, it does seem like mods from 1.64 carried over a lot to 1.7. Not all, and some of the big ones obviously are going to need to work every single time. But a lot of mods were very quickly transported across to the new one. Hopefully, that's the way it's going to be moving forward as they start to move into a polishing phase of their game and perhaps a content addition phase instead of changing the underlying structure of the sandbox. Let's jump in at the documentation. This is the documentation on how to create a mod. We're going to pretty much step through this almost step by step. There's a few steps that I sort of streamline a little bit for the way I think and work. But in short, if you want to watch somebody do this part, this section's for you. Otherwise, skip through to the next section and have a look at the actual coding start. But for now, we're going to be creating the mod. Let's jump through to the first thing we're going to need, which is the XML file. So why don't I show you real quick. This is Explorer. That's submodule.xml sitting in the modules dankness quest of Bannerlord. So it goes Steam, Steam apps, common, Mountain Blade to Bannerlord modules, dankness quests, submodule.xml. That's the file we'll be creating. I've already written most of the file here, so let me just talk you through it really quickly. You need to have a name for it. This name can have spaces in it, and it's not too worried about it. It's just an identifier that people can read, so it's supposed to be the readable version. This is more like the code version of it. So this has got no spaces in it, and I've added no weird characters. It's just straight up letters, no spaces. That's the name of it. There's a version value here. You could put the version as whatever you like. I've just called it version 0.5 because by the time you've actually got your mod set up, you're pretty much 0.5 of the way to being an iteration. The single player module is true. The multiplayer module for me is false. It may be different. Just make sure that you know what you're doing when it comes to that. Otherwise, if you're creating your first mod and you're definitely not going to be multiplayer, just leave it as false for now. You need these 5 mods as a minimum. For me, I also am going to be requiring the Mcm Mod Configuration Menu, and so I need to add that as a dependent module in here. Hadn't realized that wasn't already in there. So I think it's called, he says, I think it's called Bannerlord.mb option screen. Let me pull that one up really quickly. All right. Bannerlord.mb option screen. So I'm going to have that in there as well, which is also going to force people to have Harmony, Butterlib, and UI Extender, but they'll find that out when they go to install MB option screen. I don't necessarily need to have that. All I need to have is that this goes under MB option screen. They won't be able to put this above MB option screen. And when they try to use MB option screen, they'll get the warning in the mod manager to tell them they need it anyway. So no biggie there. I've just included it as a requirement. Just yes. Don't know why it asks. I just told it to save all. This is a brand new Windows installation, which is great. This is Dankness Quest is the name of it. Again, so this is our submodule in here. So this was all the module names. This is our submodule Dankness Quest. It's going to launch the Dankness Quest.dll. That will become important as we create the Visual Studio project. And this part here, dankness quest, is exactly the same of the .my submodule right there. That .my submodule is what it's going to be calling out as the class for that we're going to launch on. So that's why we're going to name it my submodule in a later part of this video. Dedicated server type is no render mode. None of that matters to me for now. I've saved it and that's good to go. So that's sitting there. And we've got the first part of creating a new, like a mod template is now done. Now we need to go into Visual Studio and basically get set up in there. So, sorry about the black screen, but this one here is our... this is where we're going to create our project. Now you might be saying, oh, I can see you've already got it there. Well, yes, that's true because I'd already recorded this video, but in a lower quality. And so I'm back again, second try. Create a new project. So you're going to want to create a new project. It's also why I'm going a little bit faster than perhaps I would if, like, it's definitely faster than the first attempt because I can step you through this. Now you can pause the video. You've got that liberty. So for you, there's no worries there. I'm going to filter this and say class library. And we want the class library in the .NET framework. And for me, I'm using C#, but you'll see there is one there for Visual Basic as well. I have no idea if that's important. The tutorial says to use a class library .NET framework. So whatever you're comfortable with there. There is an installer on the documentation page if you don't have that option in your Visual Studio. But I literally downloaded this today and it's there. Straight to the next page. Now, this is where we have to name our project exactly what we wanted it to be. So I'm going to be calling this project Dankness Quests. And it's important that this is the same. So what I'm going to do is, because of how important it is that nobody gets this part mixed up, you might have skipped ahead in the video and be on mute. I don't know why you would, but you know what? You can't account for everybody, but you can try. Dankness quests, that's fine. I'll leave the rest of the options exactly as is and hit the create button. And we're going to bob the black screen, I think. Yep, we went straight to bob the black screen. Let me fix that. Alrighty, here we are again. Here we are doing it live. You might be able to tell. I'm not sure how you would, but you know, a couple of clues might slip through. Now, we have a few things that we need to do in here. You'll see we have no references, and you'll see our class is named class 1. We can literally start by deleting our class 1 and adding in. So you aren't seeing the right-clicking that I'm doing. That's not something the video can do. I suppose I could record the whole screen. But we need to add a class. And we're going to be calling this class my submodule. So I can show you that window just really briefly here. Again, doing it live. Plenty of windows are going to be called ASDF. But you're welcome. There it is. This is what I'm doing. I'm just creating a new class called my submodule. Add that in. Excellent. We now have a class called my submodule. You'll remember in the XML file, we called this out and we said, hey, that's what you're going to go and do. Fantastic. All right, we're here. We're ready to add in our references and add in our project properties. So why don't we go and do our properties first? So right-click on the properties of your quest, which is this second one in the list. It's the project under the solution. So go to your project properties, and we've got a few things that we're looking at. In here, we're just checking that our namespace matches, and it does. There's nothing to care about there. Under build, to save you time in a minute, just change this to be x64. It'll remove all of the warnings that you get when you add in all of the references, so we might as well do that now. The debug, there's a couple of things we want to do in here. First thing, because we're using Bannerlord, we obviously want to reference our Bannerlord exe, right? So let's grab that. You will need to find your exe, but it will be under Steam, Steam Apps Common, Mountain Blade, Bannerlord 2, bin, Win64 shipping folder, yeah. Brain no worky. Let me just grab that real quick and put that in. You'll see it's very similar to what yours will be, but I used F drive as my base, so that's where it's going to be sitting. But yeah, it's in, once you've found your Steam Bannerlord folder, it's in bin Win64 shipping bannerlord.exe. That's the program we'll be starting. Now, we're going to be calling the command line here for single player. These are the modules we'll be adding in. You'll see I've already added these into mine, but you'll probably need to go and put these in if you intend to use like the mod configuration menu. If you don't, you can cut out these extra modules and just start at native. You'll see they're all separated by the asterisk. Now at the end, I need to change the name of it to be the name of the mod that I'm using. I'll just plug my Noble Killer mod there. That's on Nexus. This is going to be called, oh lordy, goodbye sticky keys. New Windows installs. They're the best. Haven't turned that feature off yet. Dankner's quests. Probably shouldn't be slamming the shift key that often, but you know, here we are. What are you going to do? We do need to also set the working directory. A lot of this is in the documentation on that website that was at the beginning of this video, but I am putting it in here and stepping through it so that people who are doing this perhaps for a first time or not super comfortable with what they're doing get the full experience of how to create and set up your Visual Studio environment. Now we need to add our references. So on the right hand side in my Solution Explorer, I'm going to right click on references, click add reference. All right, and now doing it live. Bear with me. Another ASD window. Make sure it's independent. And here we are. This is our reference manager. That's what it's called. That's the word. Oh, it cuts that off. Okay, so you start. Yeah, all right. So it's the reference manager. And you'll see I have a lot of very recent ones here. Don't worry about it. What you want to do is you want to browse in to your Bannerlord folder. Again, I need to do this live. Hold on. It just doesn't bring up these windows automatically. And it's fine. You wouldn't expect it to, really, would you? Alrighty. So that's not exactly what we wanted, but here we are. Now, that's for that. Perfect. Alright, we're sitting in our Bannerlord folder, and everything that we want is in bin Win64 shipping client. And what we want to do is we want to be sorted by type and then name. So I click on name and then I click on type, and then I go down here to tail worlds. I grab the tail worlds.achievement system DLL, and all from the way all the way down there, everything that's got tail worlds and DLL at the end, I grab all of it except for native. I control click native so that I don't add that one in, and then I say add, and then I go okay, and it doesn't give me any errors, and it adds all of my references in. So you can see now the right hand side, all of those DLLs are now referenced within the project. You also want to add several more references. So once again, right click on your references, add reference, and we want to do it live. Do it live. It's funny. It is funny. Like, it's just, there's no way to kind of capture these because they're generated windows. We want to go browse again. All right. It did bring it up this time, so all I have to do, I think, is just... That's it. There, is it? Yeah, there we go. Perfect, perfect. Absolutely nailing this. There you go. And we want to go back to our Mountain Blade folder, and then we want to grab our... Where is it? It's under modules now. So in the modules, Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord modules, there's a couple of things we want to grab. So we want to grab the story mode, because I know we're going to need that for this mod. And if you're creating anything to do with quests, you're probably going to want this as well. Grab the StoryMode.dll from there. Back into your browse. You're probably also going to want to go into the Sandbox. Probably you're going to want that one. The Sandbox Dll. I'm just trying to think of anything else that I know we need. There are several others. So if you've got a brand new installation, then you will see that you've got native, CustomBattle, SandBoxCore, and StoryMode. I'll add SandBoxCore in because, like, it's just ringing it. Nope, there is nothing to add for that. So I've led you up the garden path there. Anyway. The documentation for all of this, so I'll just go cancel on that one and just go OK to add those in and save. All right, saving. Your best friend. Get used to it. What I'm going to do now is just briefly go back to the Chrome here to show you the documentation for Bannerlord. So if we go over here to this butr.github.io, is where the current instance of it is, and we've got Bannerlord.reference assemblies.documentation, and all of your StoryMode, where is it? Core, native, sandbox, StoryMode, and CustomBattle APIs. They're all sitting over here, and you can go through those with this nice little search tool here to find things that you want. Like if I wanted to add a journal entry, do I get to find that in here? No. Is it called log? No. Once again, Lord conversation modes. Some of that might be in other APIs. I'm not going to waste time looking for it now. You know what I'm talking about. Is it? Yeah, here we go. Log entries. So it was in the Sandbox API. Yeah. Anyway, like I said, I wasn't going to spend a lot of time in there, but that's basically how you find stuff that works in the game and stuff that you can modify. So we've added our references. We've set up our project. We've set up the debugging. You're good to start working on your My Submodule class now. We'll get that started and get that part of this done. So what we want is we want this My Submodule, and we need to add in our code. We need to add in our references. So let's add in our Tailworlds, Core, Localization, and Mountain Blade. Those ones are now going to be set up and ready to go. For ease of getting through this, because you can read this documentation and follow it along. This is sort of like just the pre-intro to the real work that's going to be happening in this mod. This is just following through clearly documented work that's not too hard to follow. There's just a couple of gotchas that I've gone through in the video. We need to inherit from MB submodule base. So inherit, let's colon, put it in there. I'll just check the video to make sure that everything is going through as it is. Yep, we are on the right page. Fantastic. You know, I'm a professional at this, you know, quite clearly. So I do this for my day job. That's a lie. Set up an override for the onSubmodule load class, so we'll need to add that one in as well. I am going to cheat because I can. There's no rules saying that I cannot, so I'm just going to go and grab my unsubmodule load from my mod that it already exists and paste it in. That's how you're going to do that. So you protected override void on submodule load, base on submodule load. So now we're going to go and grab the code that we want to fire up with that. Where is he? We don't need that for right now. What I want is our on-game start code, I believe. Yep. Going to add a new one here, on-game start, and then I'm also going to need to add in the behaviors code for that. It's all a bit of a roundabout way of just getting to the actual code I want to start. All right, so as you can see, this is all stuff that's going to happen in here. Protected override void on start, and then that's fine. Game base on game start. We do need to add in another reference for this, so I think it's the campaign system that I need to use, so we'll put that in here, all in nice alphabetical order because I'm on the video. Otherwise I would have slammed it in at the end. Now is that all I need? Do we have everything that we need to actually have the object doesn't contain a definition for it? I thought that it would. Is that me? Bear with me here. I shouldn't have run into a problem here. MB submodule base. We've inherited from the MB submodule base. No. Yeah. Yeah, that'll get you every time. It's alright. I don't feel like an idiot. What are you talking about? And this will be our behavior for the what we're trying to start, right? Now, I believe this is where I need to actually go and spend a second, because otherwise the rest of the videos won't make sense. I've had to rename stuff to get around other things, but just need to get the names right so that it all matches up in the future. That's there, that's there, that's there. I need to add in my behaviors and quests, and it's called trade request simple. And I think I wanted to call it player delivery request, so I think I'm actually going to stick with this. So we're going to call it player delivery request. And that's going to add our player delivery request into the game. But we need a behavior for this first, so we are going to stick with our we're going to call it simple delivery request. Sorry, just I wanted to name it more appropriately for now, because that's going to be important as we move forward. So I need to add in a new folder. So I just done that by right-clicking on the project, add folder, behaviors, put that in there. I'm going to right-click on my behaviors now and add in a class, which I'm just going to call what I called the name in here. You can't see that window right now. I don't know if that's important, but look, I'll bring you in. Here we are. That's exciting. And I'm just going to name the class Simple Delivery Requests. Wow, that's what happens if your fingers aren't on the right keys. And that's what happens if your brain doesn't work. Simple Delivery Request. Sweet. All right, that's in there. Obviously, it's in the new namespace because I put it in a subfolder. So we're going to need to call that namespace in our original code. There we go. And we're going to need to add accept colon because otherwise the code doesn't fly. We need to add the using because somewhere I either missed that or never put it in. Using next quest behaviors. Yeah, looks good. Cannot convert from that to that. Good. That's the only error. Fantastic. Probably not going to come back to my submodule now for quite some time. So that part's all done. And now we need to just fix this. Now, let me grab the code that I'm going to be needing for this. Quite simple. He says simple. It took me hours to work all of this out. So obviously we're going to need to inherit some things. So we're going to be using the Tail Worlds campaign system. We're going to be basically overriding the campaign behavior class or extending it or whatever we're trying to achieve here, and inheriting it is what we're actually doing. Simple Delivery Request is our class, and we don't inherit two of these modules, which we have to do. Is that fine? I think so. Alrighty. There's a couple of things we need to add into our class to make it work. So the first thing is this sync data thing. I'm just going to paste it all in the one go because it's pretty simple, and I have already coded this before. Sync data, don't need to do anything in it. So it's just an open close bracket, not coded anything into the sync data. Register events. Now that one's got this on session launched event in it, so that when the session launches, that'll start, add a non-serialized listener for on session launched. Yeah, that'll do our register events, and it will call this on session launched part here. So that's where we're registering our events. So that's going to do the initial hook into the game, and then it's going to start off this class, and this is where we're going to be putting the stuff in. So pretend that doesn't exist right now because that's the part that we're beginning the quest in. So we've actually got up to the part now where we're ready to start coding in a quest. You're done with setting up the game. You're now ready to actually put something in here so that when you say on session launched, and you could literally have this just go, what is it? Is it information system? I think that requires a separate class. Look, it's just an example, so I'll just pretend. I don't remember the exact format of it, but it's like information message, and just throw a message down the bottom and saying, I have successfully modded the game. Exclamation mark, because we're excited. Hooray! You could say that, and that will be fine. It's giving me this error, which I'm confused about. Simple delivery request to a campaign behavior base. I've done something here that I don't understand, so give me 2 seconds. Yes. What have I done? Remember how I said we weren't going to go back into my submodule? This is what happens when you're redoing things and not taking as much time as you did the first time. What have I done? Game starter object, add behavior, new simple delivery request. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's fine. Didn't need to come back in there. Player delivery quest. Trade quest simple. Simple delivery quest. Did I just name something wrong? Is that what I've done? Or did I just need to recompile and the error goes away by itself? Let's just pretend none of that ever happened. All right, just between you and me. Last 30-40 seconds. Ignore it. Pay no mind to the man behind the curtain. Pay no attention. All right, so we are up to the stage now where we're actually ready to go and create the quest part, which I'll now put in because it makes sense. New player delivery quest, hero main hero start quest. Now the reason I don't want to just copy and paste that is because I need to sort of explain what's going on in here, and this is where we're actually going to be calling a quest, and we're going to have a quest class, and we're going to create this player delivery quest. All right. So what I've decided to do is to add. So I've right clicked on my project. I'm adding a new folder. I'm going to call this one quests because I might want to add quests in the future. This might be like the start of a huge mod that adds like 1 million quests into the game. I'm not a masochist. Just going to be a few so that I can support it. We add in a class. And we call this class what we said in the code. So again, you're probably locked out of seeing all of what's going on there. So once again, let me bring you into the class screen. One day I'm going to actually type in the exact sequence of ASDF that I've already typed and get an error. And it's going to throw me. And I need to call this class. So I'm going to add a new class, and I've called it up here player delivery quest. So I'm going to call it exactly that so that it's very obvious. I don't have to call the CS the same thing as what I put inside of it. But if you don't, I don't know, you're probably a savage. So there we are. We've done that bit. It also creates it nicely for you. Like it's named the same, so you're ready to kind of go from the start. So this is our quest. We're just going to... What's happening in Simple Delivery Quest is just literally initiating the quest as soon as we start a game. As soon as we get in there, it's like, get over there. You have a quest to initiate. All right. So what I want to do is just have a quick think because at this stage, I'm ready to create part 2. I think everything here is good to go. The moment I hit start on this screen, it's going to launch the game and everything should be fine, but obviously it won't work because I haven't got the player quest set up correctly. But if I was to simply comment that out, and run it, it should just run the game. And I would technically have my mod running. I've set up everything. I've set up the project properties. We've added our references. We are ready to start coding and actually making a quest. So if you followed to this point, you're good. And if that was all you wanted, you're done. Now, if you want to see how to create a quest, we're going to do that in the next part. So let's get on with that.